Hi, today I'm here at the laundromat, the local laundromat near my home, and I'm gonna give you some reasons of why I think I'm so lonely here in Japan. But before I do that, I wanted to just give you a little history about me if you don't know. So awesome. This video is brought to you by all my Patreon supporters. Go Team Awesome! So my name is Oz, I'm from Toronto, Canada. I came to Japan the first time after university, and I came here in Nagoya. I was working at Ion Eikaiwa as an English teacher for a few years. I met and married a Japanese girl who we got married. We moved back to Canada, but I felt like in Canada I wasn't enjoying my job or my life, and I wanted to come back to Japan. So I applied for the JET program, got in, and we moved to Hokkaido a month after the big earthquake in 2011 in Japan. I really liked the job, I really liked the place. It was a really nice small town in Hokkaido. But unfortunately, things didn't work out with my wife, and we decided to separate. We're still friends. We got divorced. She moved back to Nagoya to be with her family, and she got remarried. I decided to move to Chiba, and in Chiba I became a teacher teaching kindergartens, and I've been doing that ever since. So that's my life, I guess, in Japan. And so I've been in Japan the first time around a few years, I think maybe three years, and the second time it's been almost 7 years now. So I guess a total of 10 years with like a 3-year middle where I was back in Canada. I think the main reason I'm making this video is two reasons. One, I think, is to not vent, but like almost like a therapeutic release of feelings. I don't have a therapist, I can't afford one, and I don't really have that many people to talk to seriously, like deep conversations, especially in Japan. And the second reason is I don't want to burst people's bubbles, but I feel like a lot of people, when they first come to Japan, or when they're in their country thinking about coming to Japan, it's like a Disneyland for them. It's this fantasy place where, like, oh my god, it's anime and whatever, like all this kawaii stuff, which it is. It's really fun. And I actually do relate Japan to Disneyland a lot in many situations. But one thing that maybe people don't think about is the lifestyle here is going to be very different from where you're from, and you might not fit into it exactly how you were hoping. So I wanted to kind of show you my lifestyle, and maybe that will help you decide and understand if you belong in Japan or if you want to come and live in Japan. In Canada, I used to live at home with my parents and my sister, and I had cousins around and other uncles and aunts that would always be visiting, or I'd be visiting them. My background is Indian, so you can imagine Indian families are really big, really close, lots of weddings and parties and that kind of stuff that happen. So it's a really close-knit community. To tell you the truth, even in Canada, I wasn't really big on the Indian community anyway. I don't feel like I truly am Indian because I was born in Canada and because I grew up in a predominantly Greek and Italian neighborhood, so there weren't many Indian people around me. Even that aside, like, I mean, in Japan, I don't have a wife, I don't have a father or mother or a sister. I have nobody really close enough to depend on, so it's kind of like isolated. That's how I feel. During my birthday or Valentine's Day or Christmas or Thanksgiving, on those days where you usually hang out with someone in your family, whether it be like someone close like your parents or your sister or brother, or like a loved one like a husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, on those kind of days I feel kind of like, oh, I'm just here alone. It's just a very, very different feeling when you're completely alone in Japan in terms of family. So my friends in Canada, of course, I miss them. I haven't seen them in a while, except KG, Kareem, who came to visit me last month, or in August, which was cool. But other than that, like, I don't have, like, I miss my friends back home, but I'm gonna say more than that, it's hard to make friends in Japan. Which sounds weird. I do meet a lot of Japanese people every day. I'm surrounded by Japanese people, and I do have connections with Japanese people. I have gone to parties and events and like movies and karaoke and dinner and a lot of places, like friendly places that you would go with friends. with Japanese people. So I'm not saying I don't have Japanese friends, but I mean like close friends. Friends that, you know, you talk to on the phone or you text with once in a while. You guys go for coffee or kind of a friend crew. And I don't have that in Japan except for one friend, Mamoru, he's my best friend in Japan. And he's so cool. He's one of the greatest Japanese people I've ever met. The problem is he's far. He's in Shinjuku and I'm in Chiba, so meeting is hard, and also he works a lot. I think the culture here is a very group-centered culture, so it's really, people are really close here with their friends. But the thing is, the friends are like special circles. So you're either friends with your junior high school friends, or your high school friends, or your university friends, or your work friends. And I don't really have a group. And so I haven't made any really long-term Japanese friends. Considering I've been here 7 years, you'd think I'd have more than one Japanese friend, but I only have Mamoru pretty much. Also, in terms of foreigners, when I first came to Japan, I made a good close group of 3 foreign friends, but they all left after the first year. And I think that was like my first time, I guess, not culture shock, but shock that, oh, people leave. So I realized like, making friends with foreigners is great, but I've noticed over the years that all the foreigners that I'm close to keep leaving, including me, because I left once too and I came back. So I feel like it's hard to rely on a long-term close friendship with foreigners in Japan because you don't know how long they're going to be in your town or even in the country. And I think the biggest reason why I think I'm lonely in terms of friends is because it's my own fault. I don't really keep in touch. I always wait for emails. I'm very passive in that way. I never email first. I always get an email from them saying, hey, what's going on? How's life in Japan? Or how's work going or whatever? And then I reply and then we talk more and we end up meeting for whatever. I came up with one of the biggest reasons was my, this sounds really like I'm in therapy for real, but this is like roots back to my childhood. When I was in junior high school or high school, I can't remember. Maybe high school. When I was in high school, a lot of people were throwing house parties. That was kind of cool to do when your parents are out of town or whatever, or on the weekends, your parents go out, you invite a whole bunch of friends over. So I think my worst memory, I guess my most traumatic reason why I don't reach out to people is I was like, okay, you know what? I can do that too. So one time my parents were going to the States, United States, to meet family or something, I can't remember. They were gone for a long time, like a month I think. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a party at my house. So I told my friends or the people I hung out with, and I spread the news that I'm having a party on the weekend and I'm gonna like get a whole bunch of pizzas and you guys can bring your own beer or whatever you want to bring. We'll have music, we'll have fun, whatever. And I was really excited. And I was like, yay, my first house party. Unfortunately, on that day, my friend Jason was the only person that came. So it was just me, Jason, about 3 or 4 pizzas, and a case of beer, I think it was. And so we just went to like Blockbuster, which was a thing at the time, and we just rented some movies, and it was a fun night. Me and my friend Jason, we watched like a whole bunch of horror movies and ate pizza. But I was really disappointed because I was expecting at least 10 people would show up, but it was just me and my friend Jason. Yeah, so thanks Jason for coming. But yeah, I think after that I realized, okay, I'm not the kind of person, or I don't have the kind of appeal that other people have, where like if I invite someone, they'll show up. So after that I stopped asking people out to anything. I always would go to places if I was invited, but I'd never do the inviting. And I think one of the people I met in Japan actually always complains that I never contact him, or I never go out with him, but whenever he invites me, I always go with him. But I just never do the invite until I said, okay, I'm gonna try. And I invited him to something, but he did not show up. Yeah, so it was kind of like reliving my high school days. And that's why I felt, okay, that's why I don't like the rejection. Most people make friends at work. If you're in an office together, you're in the cubicle next to each other or whatever, and then you end up maybe going to the bar afterwards or inviting each other to your place for like, hey, let's go drink, like, you know, watch a movie or whatever. Unfortunately, my job, since I've been in Chiba, my job I've had for the last 6-7 years, is a job where I'm like a traveling English teacher. I have a backpack, I don't have an office, I don't have a classroom. I just carry all my books and toys and flashcards and everything I need for the day in my backpack. I take a train to one school. I teach for 2 hours straight or whatever. And then I take my backpack and get on the train. When I'm done, go to another school and do the same thing, and then I come home. The teachers that are there, they don't speak English, and they only see me for 2 hours a week because I go to 7 different schools a week. So I'm never at the same school every day. So I don't even get to know the teachers that well. I see them for maybe 20 minutes in the classroom, but they're just like with kids, so we don't actually talk. So I know their names, that's about it. So there's no real closeness with the teachers or the school even, because I'm not always there. My coworkers who are in my company, we all go to different schools, so we're never at the same place at the same time together. Having this job where you're just traveling around with a backpack, seeing people only for short amounts of time, you can't really be close to anyone. There's no like time to talk to people or just build any kind of relationship. So I don't know about all English jobs, but a lot of English jobs are like that, where you go from school to school, you're not always set at the same place, or you're going from different company or different location or branch or whatever to teach English. So for those of you who are coming to Japan to teach English, that might be one of the things you might want to keep in mind. You might not have like a workplace group. As I've gone on through the years, my Japanese has gotten better, so I'm at conversational level, which is pretty good. I can get by. Listening is good. Talking is okay. But like I haven't officially, really studied Japanese, so I'm not fluent at all. So I think that's a part of it, because if you can't 100% communicate with people, of course it's going to be hard to have deep conversations and get close to people. So that's one major barrier, I think, of why I haven't been able to make a lot of friends in Japan and why I've been pretty lonely. But not only that, even though I speak Japanese, I noticed that, and I don't want to sound racist, or I don't mean to say that Japanese people are racist, but because I'm a foreigner and because I'm not Japanese and I'm visibly different than Japanese people, I think automatically it's kind of like they've already built this kind of like preconception, I guess. So I think they don't mean to do it in a negative way. I feel like they kind of get freaked out, like, oh no, it's a foreigner, he speaks English. And even if I'm speaking Japanese to them, they don't realize I'm speaking Japanese to them, so I'll say something in Japanese and they'll reply in English. They can't process that I'm speaking Japanese to them, so it takes them a while to realize, oh, he actually understands and speaks Japanese. Once I get to talk to people, and once they get to know me for a lot longer, they realize, they relax and they get better. And Japanese people are really friendly and nice, so they're really cool, especially if you're a tourist. But once you live here, you notice that they're very standoffish. They're a little like hesitant to like say anything to you or talk to you or even like trust you for certain things. So it's always like you're always on eggshells with them, I feel. So that's one thing a lot of foreigners can't deal with that. They get really angry and pissed off, and they're like, oh, that they don't realize that I'm just like them, I'm human, and why don't they treat me like they treat other Japanese people? And then a lot of people who've been here for a long time, like 20, 30 years, will speak Japanese fluently, know everything about Japanese culture, probably more than the Japanese people, but still they will be considered foreigner, because no matter what they do, they'll always kind of stick out. I think no matter how long you've been here and how good your Japanese gets, you'll still be the outsider because you are an outsider. A lot of people have hobbies in Japan. I don't know, I can't think of anything, but I'm sure there's hobbies like you have baseball or sports or whatever. And when you're in that group of friends, you guys go out together and become friends that way. Unfortunately, I don't really have too many hobbies in Japan, so I guess once again it's all down to me, it's all my fault. But I think the only real hobbies I have are YouTube and my dog Maple, walking him and playing with him, and going to the gym recently since I got sick. Talking about my dog, first of all, Maple, he's awesome and I like walking around with him. Other dog owners in Japan, I'm not blaming them, but it's a very different social culture. I think Maple is a small dog, but he looks big in Japan because a lot of Japanese dogs are tiny, and a lot of owners are intimidated by my dog, even though my dog is the friendliest dog ever, and usually their dogs end up biting my dog. It's kind of hard to make friends with other dog owners because they're kind of hesitant to let their dog come close to Maple. But on YouTube, and I have met a lot of YouTube, but most of the people who watch my YouTube are foreigners. So when they do come visit me to Japan, they always invite me out, and I always go out with them. And I made videos with a lot of people who came to visit me in Japan. So it's really fun, but they're like like friends, but they're like far away and I never see them again. It's like a one-time or two-time friend thing. Except Ryan, who keeps coming back, so he's a friend of mine too, but he's not in Japan right now. And that's why I say I'm always having fun, I'm always going out with doing things with people, but with YouTube, I meet a lot of international people, meet a lot of cool people, but I don't meet like long-term friends. And when I speak about other YouTubers, I don't want to like talk shit about other YouTubers or start any kind of drama, but I feel like the videos they make and the lifestyle they have is very different from my videos and my lifestyle. And I'm kind of like the outsider of the YouTube community because I've been on YouTube for so long, but I haven't reached the success that other people have. So all the people I started with are much more successful and don't really want to collab with me because I don't really have anything in common with them and I can't really give them anything, you know what I mean? And then people who are lower than me, or I don't say lower, but like who are newer than me or don't have as many subscribers as me, they're usually younger and they're like in their 20s and they're still new to Japan. So it's like they're in their own little phase of their YouTubing thing and I'm in a different phase completely. And like I said, it's my own fault. I don't have any really other hobbies. And even at the gym, I'm kind of shy, so I don't really actually start conversations with anybody. So I'm not proactive. Like I said, I'm very passive. So I'll sometimes like say konnichiwa or something to somebody, but it's very rare that I'll just like go up to a Japanese person and just start, you know, chit-chatting with them, which is what, same with them, they don't do that as well because it's not part of the culture here to just come up to strangers and start talking to them. I'm not saying like I'm a little recluse, like, you know, guy in his basement, like, you know, just doing nothing, so playing video games or something. I'm not like that. I do go out, I do meet people. For those of you who are coming to Japan, I don't know what your personality is like, but if you are a kind of like shy or hesitant or not recluse, but kind of introverted and kind of like don't make friends easily, it will be tough for you to make friends because Japanese people are also very similar to that. They don't really like to make they don't really make friends with people they don't already know. I was walking on Halloween night through Shibuya, the most crowded place in the world probably at the time. And that's a plug, shameless plug for my video. If you haven't seen it, check it out, my Halloween night video. It was really good. But that's when it hit me. I was like, wow, you can not be alone. You can be surrounded by so many people, but you can still feel lonely. I think I always assumed I would have my crew, you know, like the TV show Friends. Like you'd have this group of people that you hang out with all the time. After work, you go to coffee and you are always in each other's lives. And I just haven't found my friends crew. I haven't found my Phoebe, Ross, Rachel, Monica, Chandler, and who's the last one? Joey. How you doing? I just wanted to show people that Japan is a great country. It's so fun. I really like living here and I'm enjoying it as much as I possibly can. But at the same time, there is this like dark cloud hanging over me of loneliness because of the reasons I just explained. Anyway, maybe that's why I decided to film in this laundromat. It's like a metaphor for life, you know, you go out, you experience life, you get dirty, and sometimes life stinks. But there's always a way to get rid of that stink and to turn things around and be fresh and clean again. Or I just had time to kill until my laundry was finished. Either way, I hope you liked this video. My laundry is done, so I gotta get it out. And my video is done too, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up, give it a share. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as possible, so it would be great if you subscribe and watch more of my videos and share all my videos and tell everyone I'm OzzyAwesome because I'm awesome and my videos are awesome. So yeah, take care and see you next time. Peace.